Good morning, Cryptoland, and welcome to the year 2022. How you guys doing? So, today I'm gonna take an extensive look on all the markets, and it's gonna be a quite long video, so I'm gonna put timestamps so everybody can see exactly what they're looking for. So, let's not waste any time and hop into it. First, I'm gonna look into like the macro stuff, the crypto total market, Bitcoin, Ethereum, the old jazz. So let's start with that. First of all is the crypto total. I think this is a very interesting chart to look at because it kind of gives us an idea of how much money is flowing in and out of the entire market. And as you can see, even though we had this beautiful pattern of cup and handle and we broke upwards, we are making lower highs and lower lows still. And this is kind of where the entire market started, the trending market, of course. And this area should have held, and as you can see, when we had the crush at the beginning of December, that is exactly where we got some kind of support. Buyers showed up and they pushed price up again. And now we are looking for some kind of continuation. But for that to happen, we first need to break this trend line, and we also need to break this flippity that I'm going to show you right here. And let's make this red. So what I really want to see is a breakout above here and then a return. Maybe the return doesn't even have to be there. Like the moment we break into a higher high and we confirm continuation structure, then this pattern of the cup and handle is really going to come into fruition and we might start trending up much higher. But yeah, this is the immediate first obstacle that we need to break. And if that happens, we can start talking about longs. But for now, we are still in I would call it a midterm downtrend. So yeah, that's the total market, and let's hop into Bitcoin. Even though I think that Bitcoin eventually has to decouple from all the alts, we still kind of need to look at it. And ever since we had the crush at the beginning of December, we just kind of ranged, nothing else. So I mark up the range here, and what we need is a break to either side. As you can see, I have alerts on both sides so that I can see exactly when that is happening. But don't forget that with these range plays, where we first have a uptrending phase, then a downtrending phase, we need a transition, right? And the transition usually happens in these ranges, which can even be a wick of accumulation kind of. And here, every time we reach the extreme, either the resistance or the support, you can expect some shenanigans to happen because the big money, the smart money wants to grab your liquidity. So that's why we don't really play breakouts out of ranges because every time we go there, there's going to be some kind of joke played on you. And it's not a sustainable strategy in the long term. What we really want to see is a breakout and then wait for the retest. And that can often be pretty hard because we are not very patient and we see price going upwards without us. And that's when we really start feeling FOMO and we want to be in the trade. But this is where really you need to apply patience and wait, because if you want to be a retest trader, the breakout needs to happen before you buy in. It's a critical part of your system. So don't feel bad if it runs away, just be ready when it retraces. So if this happens and it comes back a little bit, that's when we start looking for longs, either from the retest itself, if it's well risk defined underneath a wave or whatever, or we can buy the breakout of the retest structure. But we don't have any of that. We are still kind of neutral here, so let's see what the future brings. Here goes Ethereum. So remember we talked about Ethereum holding up quite nicely compared to Bitcoin? Well, now I don't like it that much anymore because since then we have created lower lows and lower highs, and now we have even broken this trend line. So this kind of looks like a bearish retest, break and retest from this entire structure. Now it retests, and I would expect this to go down. I really would. And if we create a new lower low, let's say a close on the daily below 3,600, I would expect us to go to 3,000 again. But for now, we don't have enough information. Uh, this whole video is just like going to show that you need patience. The theme of this video is stay patient, be on the sidelines, watch the market, and let it confirm your idea first. That's what it's going to be about. And for now, we don't have enough information. We should just chillax. Okay? So the two plans are either we get a lower low or we actually manage to flip this 4,100 level and then we can start talking about getting long and some kind of continuation. All right, let's get into the alts themselves. First up is Warp. So every time we got into this high time frame support level, we had a violent reaction, right? There was pretty much always momentum to the upside. We didn't stay in any of these support points for a long time. We just immediately skyrocketed off. Yet, if you look at this last retest, what you can see is that the price is really sticking to the support level. That is not something we want to see. It just means that more money is trading at these extremes and more money is changing hands. Now, does that mean that's bad? No, not necessarily. It just usually shows that the market is weakening around this support level, and this is what you usually see, what you call a lower bound before the support level actually breaks. Now, if we zoom into this a little closer and maybe go even to the lower time frame, like the 4 hour, you can see that we started ranging. There's a little bit of shenanigans on the side, like on the extremes as always, and then we have this stuff that happened over here. Now, once you get a close below the range, that's a signal to, well, you can't really go short on these, but to get out of this market in general because it looks pretty bad. Yet in week of theory, this is something we call the spring. If the price stays underneath the support for a short while and then manages to immediately pump back into the range, that's actually a really bullish signal. The reason for that is that a lot of people will sell here because they get overly negative about their investment. And if smart money knows that and they pushed price down intentionally, this is where money changes hands the most, and if the bulls load up here and they push price back up, that's a very nice thing to see. However, it's still not enough for us to want to be in this trade. Not at all. It's just like additional confluence for when not only the breakout, but also the retest actually happens. You would much rather see a break of structure for a short time and then a bullish setup than just a bullish setup alone, because this kind of gives it more power. So just be patient for now. Wait for Warp to break to the upside, and then we can start looking for longs and looking for a new trending market. All right, Rook is pretty interesting here. Let's take a deeper look. So we are again at a support level, and it's nice to see that we have a bounce here. What I don't really like is that we went pretty deep on this retracement. Like, why didn't buyers show up sooner? You know, everything lined up nicely, and then we broke down. I don't know how much this is. It's like a 70% retracement, 78. I don't know. It's a lot. But anyway, we have a higher high, and now we're kind of forming a higher low. The problem that I have with this entire, let's say, range, I'll just mark it up, this whole thing, I don't really want to trade in here because even though we might have a forming structure here, the risk to reward to the first resistance is just going to be terrible because what I want to wait for now is a break of this high. We don't have a higher low yet, so what I want to see is really the market showing me, hey, I want a trend here. And we're gonna get that by breaking into a new high. But that should technically be your breakout play, right? But where would your target be? I mean, you're right at resistance. So instead, what I would rather see with Rook is this whole thing to go to the upside, maybe even to like the 400 level, and then start buying some kind of retest. That would be so much safer for me. This is just gambling. You know, you're buying on the bottom, that's nice. You get some kind of confluence, but it's in no way enough to justify a buy here. If you're a trader, that is. So yeah, NFTX, that's actually looking pretty good. Pretty good. So this trend line, which kind of broke here, but not really. This was just such a sneaky play. Normally, you would probably like a lot of breakout traders probably got into it here and it immediately dumped. And that is exactly the reason why I tell you that during transition phases in ranges, you don't want to buy these breakouts. You actually want to wait. So yeah, we continued down. And now on the 4 hour, we're probably going to see a major shift of market structure. We have a low, we have a high, we have a higher low, and now a higher high. So technically, getting back at the 94 to, I don't know, anything below 100 all the way to 94 is, in my opinion, a good buy now because the target can be very, very high. Like we have all the positional items that we need. We are above the 50 daily EMA, which is great. We are above all the other EMAs as well, which is the chart 50 and chart 20. Now we are on the 4 hour. So this is looking very, very good, and I'm interested in buying retests here. So let me just put a alert here real quick, and I'm just gonna call it buy NFTX. Because if this retraces over here, that would be a perfect, perfect buy. And the target, oh wow, let's take a look at that. So let's zoom out. Where do we not want to see price go? Like the invalidation level of this trade is probably down here. Like if it goes, I don't know, if it goes here, that would be perfect. Here, that's a little deeper than I would want, but it's still possible because you got the demand zone. Here, likely as a pivot zone, but that's like the last line of defense for this idea. If it goes lower here, we're fucked, right? The idea is invalidated and we want to be out. So this is it. This is the invalidation level and the target. I would say we could go all the way to 180 pretty easily if it holds and we break to a higher high. Yeah, so that's a almost 3 to 1 R. That's one to look out for this week, definitely. So yeah, NFTX looking good. Let's check Melon. I think it pumped, right? Oh yeah, yes it did. So the reason why I wasn't interested in this as a breakout play was actually the wicks of this chart. It just looks terrible. And I hope it loads up. Gotta be patient. Okay, I'm losing my patience slowly. Let me just reload it. Today's the day. Okay. Uh, Yikes. Okay, that was weird. Let's jump back into Melon. So, if you check the daily on Melon, mm, you'll see these upper wicks everywhere, right? Every single pump just got rejected. So I had absolutely no confidence in Melon here because I thought this is just gonna go down and it's gonna be wrecked. I didn't even expect this little reaction off of the demand zone, to be honest. I didn't. Yet it was a pretty nice 24% pump. But here we got the retest and like I really don't know. This whole structure got retested here, which is nice. So technically we could be looking for longs. However, with this entire thing that happened here, I don't really know what to think of that. I've never seen this before, and this is outside of my expertise, not really my edge. So you know what I'm gonna say? Fuck this chart. I don't need to trade everything. So I'm not gonna trade this at all. I don't know what this is. Let's go for the next one. Jesus, trading view is really slow today. Okay, so Bank. I actually bought Bank because it looks pretty good. Um, if we go to the daily, you can see that every time we reach this level, we kind of got a reaction to the upside. So I marked that as high time frame support, and this is where we kind of want to start looking for a shift in market structure on the lower time frame. So let's dive into that on the 4 hour. And what you can see is we have this range over here, well defined, two touches on each side. Then we have a breakout out of it and a retest. So I bought at around 73 And the idea was actually to see this entire thing trend to the upside and maybe hit this high time frame resistance. So I'm still in, and here is the invalidation level, which it almost hit, as you can see, but no close below, so I didn't close my position, and now I'm still kind of in profit. The more patient and better thing to do was definitely to actually wait for the daily range breakout, which was, where was it? Let's have a look. Gonna remove this then, and let's mark it up. There it is. So ideally, what I would like to see is a breakout here, maybe even taking out this pivot high. That would be pretty awesome. And then something around a 50% retracement, and then we can buy the breakout either here, or we can even buy the retest. We can buy the breakout here. There's many things we can do based on your management and how aggressive you want to be. But first things first is the breakout on the actual daily range. So we don't have that yet, and I should definitely have been a bit more patient. That we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. For now, just stay patient. Remark, man, I had big expectations from Remark. I really thought it would break out at some point here and start trending up again, but apparently that's not what's happening. So here we had this trend line, which was pretty valid, and this could have been seen as a breakout potentially, but it's always good to wait not only for a breakout out of the trend line, but also for the breakout of the previous high, right? So that didn't really happen here because the high is here, and it also lines up really nicely with support. So this is a really important level, and price just didn't manage to go through it. You know, it had a couple of tests, one, two, three, and now we're back on the way down. We're approaching support here. Let's see what happens. But for now, what I would like to see at least is, hmm, I'm wondering, is it this level or this level? It's probably this level. So I would like to see a break here and a retest. The thing is, if this happens and we get the retest here, buying here would be probably the best chance to make some good risk to reward, I would say. Because if you buy the breakout, the risk to reward is probably not going to be worth it because we are right into high time frame resistance and we cannot omit that. So yeah, if this offers some kind of nice structure, even on lower time frame like the 1 hour, then yeah, there might be a trade there. But for now, we need so much more to happen in order to be looking for longs. So until proven otherwise, this is still in a downtrend, and there's no reason to be buying this whatsoever. Okay, this looks interesting. This actually looks interesting. So we had this resistance that also lined up as support over here several times. Is there any reaction here? No, not really, but that's fine. So first of all, let me check how deep this actually retraced. Okay, we are at the 50. That's good. So now, where would we buy this? Because this is a clearly defined range. We got a breakout, and now we are looking for longs. How are we going to do that though? We can either leave a limit with a good stop loss. So I would say buying over here would be pretty cool because that would also be a retest of the daily 50 EMA, which is very important. And the stop loss, if you want to be really safe, I would say put it over here. So now let's check if this lines up, if we can take this trade in terms of risk to reward. First target would probably be over here for equal highs. That's a 1.6 to 1. That's pretty cool. And the next one would probably be over here, which is a 2.4. So in total, this entire idea, if you manage to scale out both times, would be a 2 to 1, which is a very favorable risk to reward. And I kind of like this. So let me put an alert over here. Buy Kai. All right. And if it gets there, Uh-huh. Okay. And if it gets there, I'm gonna be interested in going long. You know what's kind of funny? I think this is literally the moment my free trial expired. No way. I won't be able to show all the charts. Jesus. Okay, I can use the daily for free, so let's do that. That should be enough actually. So let's stay zoomed out because that's actually what we want to see. And let's look at this. So RGT looking pretty interesting actually. We had a pretty deep retracement. We hit the high time frame support and we got a shift in market structure on the lower time frame for sure. This is probably on the 4 hour some kind of range, then it broke up, and now we would be looking for longs. Well, the retest is in the happenings, and if we can see, let's say, a strong candle that would break this little trend line, I would say it could be a good idea to go long, especially since, let's say it goes over here, and you would put your stop loss underneath that strong candle, the breakout candle, then I think there would be favorable risk to reward ratio to high time frame resistance. Almost 3R. That looks really, really good. So definitely one to watch out for. But unfortunately, I can't make alerts. I'm gonna have to transfer some crypto and probably buy it right after the video. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do because I'm really happy with TradingView. It's a good platform, and you can see kind of accurate charts. So yeah, I'm probably gonna go for the yearly. Anyway, let's check index. Right. So on the lower time frame, this probably looked like a shift in market structure. But then this would be the breakout, and now we would be looking to buy the retest, right? Now, given how low this is right now and how much it has retraced, I'm no longer interested in buying over here at this level. I'm not. Instead, what I would like to see is a breakout from here and then a retest. And here I wouldn't mind instantly buying. Why? Because this would also be a pretty nice double bottom, and most likely if it still goes lower, there's probably going to be some kind of bullish divergence or maybe a hidden bullish divergence. So that's going to add more confluence to the idea of buying later up here. So yeah, that's what I want to see. Right now, not too interested. Not too interested. This could easily break and continue down lower. We want to be pretty damn safe when it comes to these plays. So yeah, just keep waiting, have patience. XFT, damn, what a run. What a absolute massacre this is. Oh, I can't go to the 4 hour, god damn it. I really wanted to see this under the microscope. But yeah, anyway. Look, there was some kind of resistance over here, and we broke out of it, right? Like on the daily, would you buy this breakout? It's very far. It's very, very far. And let's just check it if the risk to reward lines up in any way. Let's say you would put your stop loss over here because price has no business here whatsoever if this is supposed to continue up. No business. Like this is the last level of defense. So at this point, the idea is invalidated. So let's put our stop loss over here. And now let's check if there is actually some kind of favorable risk to reward. So the first target I would say is over here, and that's a 1.28 to 1. That's horrible. That's not really good. And we don't know if it's ever gonna get there. We don't know if it's gonna get higher. We don't know shit when it comes to this trade. It's just not enough information. The chart is too young, or the chart has not spent any time in these price ranges. Therefore, we can't really think about that. But, but, if we manage to get a retest over here, if we manage to get some kind of structure that should take fairly long based on how quickly this went up, then buying a breakout from that, both from the structure and from the high, would be a very safe place to buy and expect probably new highs. This will probably go to price discovery to the upside. And when it does, that's like the perfect place to be. But another thing to really look out for is if you go to the log, just so you can see it a little better, look how extended this entire trend is. Like we were really zoomed in here and we are like, oh, okay, what do we have to do with this structure? That's nice and all, but check the whole picture. Check it in the long term. What do we have here? We have one, two, three, four, five, six, 7 waves. That's a pretty mature trend, I would say. And now we just have a huge blow off top. And there isn't even any volume. Like this trend is going up while the volume is either remaining constant or going a little down. We do not want to see that. So getting involved at these levels is probably no longer the best idea. We want to get into these emerging trends on these retests like this play over here. That was a very, very good entry. And this play over here. And those are the 2 plays you can do in this uptrending phase. Getting in here is just, I don't know, it's too risky in my opinion. Way too risky. So now I'm probably not going to watch XFT for a while because I wouldn't be surprised if this does something along the lines of going totally wrecked. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe, that's another option. Let's go even more zoom out. Maybe this will continue up. And then we'll see some kind of retest over here. And this is going to be a long enough period to justify a new transition from uptrend to downtrend to sideways. And then we could be looking for this upside. But yeah, for now I'm gonna chill, man. I don't want to buy this. Let's check BIOS real quick. Okay. So we have high time frame support here. Um, I would say that's around the level, yeah. And now we would zoom in a little bit and analyze what is happening around this high time frame support area. And what you can see is a range where the high time frame, where this line is kind of the pivot or the equilibrium of it almost. So we are ranging around this price, and I would say this is a reset. We are just resetting, money's changing hands, accumulation is happening, and eventually, at some point, we're either going to break to the upside or to the downside, and based on that, we will continue our plans. But for now, this is range bound, and we don't trade ranges. Well, at least I don't, because most of the favorable trades are happening in trending markets. So let's stick to that, and let's continue on. API 3. If it loads up, of course. Yo, hello. Okay, just when I say good things about TradingView, this starts happening. Jesus Christ. Oi, what is your problem? I shall reload. Again. Goodness gracious. This just does not work, does it? Oi. Whatever. Let's start with Mina. Not much to say to this, really. I mean, this is high time frame support. This is where kind of we got a reaction and we bounced up. But still, the range high is over here. That's the high time frame resistance, which was support before. And we want to see that broken before we even think about buying this, okay? Because for now, we have higher lows and higher highs, and you don't want to be trading against the trend. You want to be with the trend. That increases your chances so much in being right. So with Mina, just patience. We want to see a breakout. We want to see a retest, and then we can start fishing for longs. Yo, I don't think this shit is gonna work, is it? All right. I'm just gonna take whatever I can. This is very unfortunate, but What can you do? Anyway, here we go. APY. So this whole thing is at a level of high time frame support right now. So blindly saying that, oh, we made a new lower low and this is a bearish retest, I wouldn't say that's very accurate. Just because we bounced here earlier does not mean that if we bounce here later that it's not considered support. We are still around that area, you know? So here I would definitely start paying attention with the range plays. Right now we have, I'm just gonna do it like that. We have this, and eventually we're gonna get a breakout. Maybe. And if it returns, then we can start looking for longs. And the space between buying in here and selling in here is probably gonna be very nice in terms of risk to reward. So for now, we just need patience because this is a range-bound market, and that doesn't give us enough info. So let's continue on. This just looks like absolute trash, to be honest. Like, if this level doesn't hold, and I don't mean this level as in this line, I mean this general area, I would say it's something along the lines of this probably. If we don't get any reversal pattern here, if we don't get any shift in market structure on the lower time frame, then it's probably going to break this level and continue to the downside and do the whole price discovery to the downside thing. And nobody wants to see that. That's just going to absolutely wreck you. That's where coins can go another minus 80% in bear markets. So definitely not looking for any longs here. We first want to see a lower time frame reversal pattern, and that's just not happening yet. Okay, I guess TCR is not happening either. Let's check Ethereum, and I think I can go deeper on Ethereum, can't I? Fuck yeah, I can. So yeah, we have this trend line. I would say it's valid. One, two, three touch points. And now we're kind of sticking to this level. Now, what I want to see is a break of the previous high, which is right here, and a retest. So yeah, something around this. Okay? Right now we are just range bound. We found support over here. We bounced up, created a lower high that was a pivot for this trend line. Then we had a prolonged period of going down. We retested this level again. Probably this is a nice SFP. This is where we grabbed some liquidity. And that will add even more confluence to this trade if it really happens. So now in order for us to go long, we really want to see this continuation. Until that happens, you should really be looking for shorts here. Like, no joke. I know this is a long idea, but there's also a short idea. Because right now we have two levels of resistance. Not only do we have this uh, downside pointing trend line, we also have the high right here. So what we could do is go to the lower time frame, let's say 1 hour or 30 minute or even 15 minute, and look for a lower low. And that could be a breakout signal to go short because there is enough confluence in this to go short. So I would say this is the level. And if price makes a, okay, we identified this on the 15, but let's go to the 1 hour. There's enough candles here. So if there is a 1 hour close below here, I would say that's a perfect short, at least towards here. But yeah, those are the plans. Those are the plans. So if this happens, there are two trades. There's either the breakout on the close, or this one, or even this one on the new low, the next breakout. So yeah, there's many ways you can short this, but there's not many ways you can long this right now because still a lot needs to happen in order to be bullish. So yeah, definitely better to look for shorts here. Proton probably won't work, right? Oh, it does. Nice. Who would have guessed? Okay, well, not much to say. Range-bound market, high time frame resistance over here. So most likely, the risk to reward of the break and retest pattern is not gonna be worth it. I mean, maybe. We'll see. But right now, there's no point in talking about longs because we still need at least a couple of days, maybe even weeks of price action before what I want to see can manifest, which is this. That's gonna take some time. So Proton, not interested right now. Thank you very much, though. Taraxa, okay. Well, ever since this pump, this is just still correcting, still going lower and lower. So the question is, how low is this gonna go? Because this is the first support that it made. Can I go to the 4 hour? Nope, no can do. Gotta stay here. So I don't know how would I trade it? Like the best trade was over here. Getting long here was, well, that was perfect. Here, I don't know. Like let's check the retracement. Oh, and we're on the log. Jesus, okay. So yeah, this is way below the 50. That's a little too deep. But probably the best approach here is to go to the 4 hour and look for a change in market structure. Then again, this whole thing looked like a triangle probably on the lower time frame and broke down and now retested. Honestly, this is not looking very good. And until proven otherwise, this is in a downtrend and it's making lower lows and lower highs. So why fight the trend? Instead, at least wait for price to convince you that it wants to break out of this trend. And we want to see strength. We want to see a strong up move on volume. Then we can start getting interested because for now this is just dying. So yeah, just gotta wait for more info. MFT. I think somebody asked about MFT in the group today. So what are my thoughts? Let's check. So this level is probably the most important level on the chart, I would say. This is where price interacted so many times and it either bounced to the downside or it bounced to the upside every time. So I would really expect to see some reaction here. And that is why we can go to the lower time frame and kind of start checking. So since this is a ranging market, we want to see a breakout and we want to be retest traders here. We don't just want to buy a retest, a breakout, especially not since this has broken down from this trend line. And anything that touches here would still be considered a bearish retest. And it should way more be a sign to look for shorts than it is a sign to start buying. This right now is not looking very good. Until proven otherwise, well, we're not in a downtrend yet, but we are losing significant power here. Like every high that happened here was just a tiny bit bigger. This pivot high to this pivot high is 13%. This pivot high to this pivot high, it's just the trends are not showing me any power, any significant power. And then we break down and create equal lows. Ugh, I don't know. I wouldn't want to be long in this, seriously. So for now, I would be more looking for shorts than for longs. What would change my opinion? Probably a pump back to this range, like this one. If price could pump back into this range, find support and make a higher high and breaking this trend line again to the upside, then I would trust it enough to want to get long. But right now, any retest of this support level and this trend line is a bearish one. So yeah, price has to show a lot of strength in order for us to want to buy this or for me to buy this. Oh, most of these charts don't work. What is this? Wow. Okay, maple. So, this level, very important level. Support over here when this entire chart started. Resistance, 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 boom, breakout. Beautiful retest with a beautiful reaction. That was such a nice trade over here. And then after all of this, we created a lower high. We started correcting. We got to this support again and we broke it, creating a lower low. Now we test it over here with a strong candle. Everything was nice, but no follow up. No follow up after this impulse and instead a sell off. So I would say this is a bearish retest. And there's a couple of things that can happen here. Either we now start ranging and we're going to keep creating equal lows, equal highs until at some point one side pushes the other more and we either break to the upside or we break to the downside, right? Or we can just create a lower low right away and continue this downtrend underneath this trend line. There's a lot that can happen and most of it looks bearish. So is this something I want to look for longs for? No, probably not. How I would get bullish is if this scenario that is drawn here would happen, and that is a break back into the previous range and retesting support, not only buying blindly here, because we don't know if buyers are going to show up here, but once it breaks out from the corrective structure or creates a higher high on a lower time frame, that's enough confirmation. That's the final piece of the puzzle where I would go long on this. But for now, it's just, it's a downtrend. Ooh, everybody's favorite glitch. It doesn't even load. What the fuck? Glitch, please. Okay, there we go. Right. Look, until proven otherwise, this is just dumpage, Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves to the downside. It's a decently mature trend. So looking for shorts at this point is probably not the best idea anymore. Like the short plays were over here. Let me show. The short plays were over here and over here. Now I would expect to range, honestly. And in order for me to get bullish, wow. Yeah. Let me check the log first. You It's just you can see this clear structure of lower lows, lower highs. Everything gets retested from the bottom and continues down. This is not looking good. It's simply not. And I don't even know what I would need to see in order to get bullish. Because I don't feel like it's enough to just see a break and creating a higher high, like higher pivot high above this level. Make it red. And then retesting it. I don't know if that's enough. I really don't. Because the pivot high on the daily is over here. And you kind of want to see a higher high above this pivot. But if that happens, there isn't enough space to get a well-defined risk to reward trade because we are so close to high time frame resistance. For now, I don't like the structure of this chart. I might change my mind if I see something different, but for now, no. Like, this is so far for me to even consider being long. That being said, some kind of important level here where we would expect support. And the way to do that is to zoom in into the lower time frame. And maybe if you like really want to be in this and it maybe lines up with some fundamental analysis, then start fishing for break retest patterns on the lower time frame, 4 hour, 1 hour, whatever. But I wouldn't recommend it, man. I wouldn't. All the MAs are sloping down. Price is significantly below. Nah, this needs time to correct. But yeah, I might be wrong. But for now, I'm so not interested. Yeah, let's skip this one. Okay, here we go. MTA. Very important level here. Extremely important, right? This is where we want to see some change in market structure around this area. So what I would say makes sense is going to the 4 hour, maybe finding a trend line, which could be this one, 1, 2, 3 touch points, and use that in synergy with market structure to find a low time frame entry on this. So what that would look like is made lower lows here, not looking too good. We probably just need to see this, you know? Yeah, it's that simple. So yeah, definitely not interested yet. Jesus, can I just get it loaded, please? It's the last three charts. Come on. ArcX, TKN, and Geyser. Ugh. Reload again. ArcX. Come on, load up. Okay, this is not showing up. So yeah, missed quite a few. But honestly, there isn't much stuff to pay attention to anyway. Like, I don't think you want to be in this market, you know? I think the best approach right now is to be on the sidelines, play it defensive, survive. That's the number one goal of every trader right now, at least in my opinion, because you don't know the direction this market is going to take. But once it gives us enough clues and enough confluence for us to create confidence in this, then it might start transitioning, and that's when we want to start looking for longs. And that's just not right now. So yeah, sorry there was a few less this time. I'm still gonna update all the charts on Discord. You can still ask me any questions. I'll be happy to answer. And yeah, I just wish you a happy 2022. I'm gonna do my utmost best to provide as much value as possible, not just for myself, but everyone. And I hope we're all gonna make it. Let's make some serious cash this year. So yeah, all the best, guys. See ya!